Alright guys, welcome to this episode or video on how to change from an AGM style battery system in your Caravan to a lithium style system in our Caravan. Now, we didn't have this built with lithium upgrade in mind, so a bit of hindsight would have been good, but anyway, we need to now upgrade to lithium. We've had a battery fail and we do a lot of off-grid, and we just want to make the change. It'll be a lot easier in the long run to stick with lithium. So we're just taking the plunge now and moving into lithium. So in this video, I'm just going to go through all the things you'll need, why you need them, and the easiest way of changing them out, and things like that. Now, take in mind, I'm not a 12 volt Sparky. I am a mechanic, but I'm not a 12 volt Sparky. So if you want to do this yourself, make sure you just get advice or take it to a professional if you're not sure on what you're doing. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad reps online about people doing things the wrong way and all that sort of stuff. So just putting it out there. This is just how I've done it. I've talked to a lot of my Sparky mates and they've said, yeah, that's all good. So yeah, I'm just going to go through what I'm going to have to change and how I'm going to do it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to change is our solar controller. Now, the solar controller that is in our van at the moment is a PWM solar controller, which is the older style, pretty basic sort of stuff, but it hasn't got a lithium profile in it. So I can't change to a lithium without changing the solar controller over. So pretty much all the solar panels that are on the roof will come down through this and convert it to the right amount of voltage that goes into the batteries to make sure they're all good. And there's also different characteristics between the lead acid, the AGM, calcium and lithium. So just be careful. Just check your solar controller and make sure if it is lithium compatible, that's awesome. That means you don't have to splurge out on one of these. If it's not, unfortunately, you're going to have to change to a lithium compatible solar controller. Now, this one's a Victron one, and it comes with Bluetooth and all that sort of stuff, so you can pretty much check on your phone how much voltage and amps are coming in from your panels. So yeah, you don't have to keep opening cabinets, things like that. You can hide this, tuck it away under the bed or things like that, so you don't have to worry about it. But I'm just going to be placing it back where my original controller is at the moment, so that way I don't have to run new wires or anything like that. I'm just going to use the existing power in and power outs, so that way, nice and easy. Alright, so the next thing we're going to have to change over is our 240 volt charger, which once again is Victron. I'm running all Victron gear on this because I've used it before and it's really good, so I'm keen to keep using it. Now, this is for when we're parked up at caravan parks or at home or anything like that, where you want to put a charge into your batteries when you're not driving or doing anything like that. So this is, once again, the one in our van is not lithium compatible. Check with your van. If it is, just check the manual. Sometimes there's settings that you can go in and change so that it charges lithium. If that's the case, once again, all good. You don't have to change this out. But if not, you'll have to change this out because once again, there's different charging profiles for different batteries. So this one pretty much lives under the bed. It's Bluetooth compatible as well, so you can go on and change all the settings just via Bluetooth. There's no switches or dials or anything like that on here. It's just pretty much all via your phone, so it's really good. Plug it in, change it over, and good to go. So this will be once again another straight swap for the item that's under the bed. So I'll take that charger out and put this charger in. Alright, so the next thing we're going to put in the system is this monitor. So it's a battery monitor. So this will have to go underneath where your batteries are, or if your batteries are inside anywhere. It's just pretty much a monitor that will tell you how much is going into the battery and how much is coming out of the battery. So voltage, amps, all that sort of stuff. It's a real good little unit. I've got one in the Cruiser and it tells me everything, the percentage of battery that's left, all that sort of stuff. So these are really handy. You don't obviously need one of these, but they're just so much easy having this because you can just check at a glance and see where you are, how much battery life you've got left, whether you have to ease back on things or whether you need to put things on charge because you're running a bit low. So this is really good. I'm going to put this up where the solar controller is, so I'm going to have to pull some cabinets off and things like that and try and run some wires down the wall. So this is going to be the tricky one, so I'll probably leave this to last So at least we can just get everything running, and you've just pretty much just got to reconnect your negative battery terminals. So this is the first thing that comes off the negative battery will go to this shunt in here, and then all your other earths will come off the other side. So this actually just tells the controller how much is coming in and out. So real good bit of kit. This one isn't Bluetooth compatible, but you can get ones with a Bluetooth the next model up. I figured what wasn't really needed because it's going to be at eye level anyway, so I can just see it at a glance. So, but yeah, definitely not needed, but definitely a good thing to have. Alright, so the next thing on the list that we're going to upgrade or add is another solar panel. So we've only got two 160 watt solar panels at the moment, so 320 watts in total, which probably won't be enough to just keep these lithiums all nice and topped up. So pretty much I'm getting another 160 watt solar panel to go on the roof. Try and keep all your solar panels evenly matched. If they're all 160s, so much easier. Otherwise there's different amounts of charge coming from one, and it's just a bit of a all over the shop sort of thing. So just try and keep them all the same size, same wattage, all that sort of stuff. So much easier. The other thing as well, why I had to upgrade my solar controller, is the amount of amperage that I'm going to be bringing in. So I'm adding another solar panel to the mix. The controller in there at the moment is only a 30 amp, so even if it was lithium compatible, it's probably pushing the limits of what can get in from the 3 solar panels. So that's another calculations you've got to work out, is how many solar panels you've got, how much power you're going to be getting in, and how much you've got to send to your controller. So if your controller's too small, it'll only handle the max amount, which will be 30 amps, even though you could be getting a lot more in. So another calculation, another thing you've got to work out when doing the upgrade. Right, so the other thing that you're going to have to do with solar panels, obviously if you're mounting to the roof, you need to get mounting plates. So you get all different types of mounting plates or brackets. So I've gone with there's a set of 4 corner mounts. So pretty much the corner of the solar panel will go in there, and you pretty much just screw into your solar panel, and then that sticks on to the roof. Now the way that our solar panels and everything else we've got up on the roof has been located, we're going to have to put our solar panel sideways compared to the van. So my big concern being sideways compared to nice and aerodynamic like that is that the wind is going to get up underneath. So I've opted for some corner brackets, so all 4 corners will be down, and then I've got some longer ones that I'm going to put in line to try and act as a bit of a buffer for the wind, so it doesn't pick up underneath. Just a bit of added security. I would rather over-engineer solar panels on the roof than just think it'll be alright, because last thing you want is one of those flying off when you're driving along. You won't even notice it, and you'll get to your location and you'll be missing a solar panel, and someone will have it in their windscreen. So definitely make sure we do the right things when we're mounting the solar panels to the roof. And while we're on that, the next thing I'm going to be using is some Sikaflex 252. So this has been recommended to attach these to the roof. We just have to make sure we do a lot of prep work for this, and these need to be cured for at least 24 hours in the sun. So we're just making sure today and tomorrow and the next day are going to be pretty sunny. Otherwise there's no point doing it, otherwise it just won't set properly. The other thing as well, we need to just follow all the guidelines. It says how to use it and all things like that. You've also got to prep the surface properly. So for that I've got just some wax and grease remover. Because this is an older van, it's seen a lot of Ks, it's seen a lot of dirt and dust roads. So I'm going to get up there and just make sure that surface is super clean. Give it a nice clean down, maybe even get some Scotch-Brite, just rough up the surface a little bit, clean it again, make sure it's super clean. And then we'll be obviously installing these to the panel and then panel onto the roof. Alright, now because I don't really want to drill extra holes into the roof for cabling and things like that, I'm going to just run the cable for the new solar panel around and to the existing solar panels and just tee into them. So I've pretty much just got some good solid twin core cabling, some conduit to run it in just so it's protected up there. I've got some clamps just to clamp it down to the roof so it's not flapping around, and just some assorted screws and things like that that I'll use up on the roof. Now another thing, obviously if you're screwing into your roof, make sure that you're not going too far and you'll pop into the ceiling on the inside. Also there's probably a lot of cabling and things like that in the roof as well you got to worry about. So I've pretty much just got little screws that are only just going to get in through the surface, but I'm going to also use that Sikaflex underneath the cable clamps just to make sure that it's super tight and it's not going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, if they fall out, it's not going to rip anything off. It just means that the cable's going to vibrate around a little bit. So not an absolute necessity to conduit and do things like that, but I just prefer that everything is secure up on that roof. So that's why I've opted for that. And yeah, it should be super easy to fit up. All right, now lastly, these are obviously the star of the show, going from an AGM system to a lithium. There's so many videos out there on pros and cons and all that sort of stuff, so I'm not going to get into that now, but I've chosen just 2 of these 150 amp hour lithium batteries, so we should have 300 amp hours all up. Now at the moment I've got 300 amp hours, or about 340 I think, of AGM amp hours. So pretty much I think this is even probably going to be even more than what I've originally had, but just better sort of quality power, and easier to recharge and all that sort of stuff. But like I say, plenty of videos out there on the difference between AGMs and lithiums. Now these were just, I've chosen these purely because I could get them or everything all in the one place. So I've gone to the home of 12 volt in Mount Barker in South Australia. They've been really awesome to work with. Don't get any discounts or anything like that, unfortunately, but they're just really well priced and everything like that as well. Good warranty on them, and these brand is all over Australia. So I figure if something's going to go wrong, at least I can go somewhere else and get a bit of warranty or anything like that. So there's definite better brands out there, there's worse brands out there, but once again I'm not going to get into that. This is just the one I've chosen, and it was easily accessible. I got everything from all the same place, so it makes it so much easier. I just walk in, get it, and come back out again. So I'm good to go. Alright, so it goes against everything males do, but we have to actually read the instructions here. We have to download the app for this 240 volt charger, and I'll download it onto my phone, and I need to update the software straight away. So it's connected to the charger at the moment, and then we're just updating that. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm charging both these lithium batteries to 100% before I even install them. It was recommended from the shop I got them from, also just to make sure if we're joining them together, they need to be both fully charged, so they're starting off life on a good full charge. So I'm just doing that now before we even start thinking about installing anything. I've just got it plugged in. I'm now updating the app, gonna set it to lithium, to the lithium profile, and then we'll hook them up and get them charged. Alright, so with our brackets that we're holding onto the solar panel, I've just gone ahead and just put a little bit of double-sided tape on there. Now that's obviously not going to hold the bracket to the panel. What we're going to do is going to drill holes through here into the panel. That just holds it on there just while you're trying to line up your holes and everything like that, make sure it doesn't fall off. Just makes it a little bit easier. Alright, so as you can see, we've got that sitting on there with the double-sided tape. I'm just going to drill out the holes. Now I'm using self-tappers, but I just like to drill a little pilot hole just to make sure that it's in the right spot and everything's going to be okay when we screw into it, and they're not going to crack the plastic or anything like that. Alright, so as you can see, we've got some screws in there now. We've just gone around and done all 4. Now I'm going to put the lengthways supports on. Alright, we're through the hatch. So this is the only way I can get through to the spot that I need to get to. I might have to see if I can pinch a ladder off someone later on, but I'm not too keen on standing on these composite roofs. Well, I think they're composite, so I don't really want to stand on it. So anyway, this is how I'm getting through. It's through my hatch, and I don't know if you can see down there, I'm standing on a fishing bucket because I'm not very tall. Anyway, so we're up here on the roof, Silicon Valley, otherwise it's known as. Anyway, so this is the area here that we're going to be putting the solar panel on. So as you can see, it's fairly covered in schmutz, so we're going to have to give that a bit of a clean. So I'll get me wax and grease remover, I'll give it a good old clean. Nice and clean, square. Could spend all day up here cleaning this roof, but anyway, that's what we're just doing. Just the bits that are going to be adhered to, nice and clean. Give them a final coat again, just to make sure it's absolutely spotless. And we're going to get the panel up here and we'll glue them down. Alright, so our original solar controller was mounted up here in our Caravan. And yeah, like it does a great job for the AGM batteries and all that sort of stuff. It's got a display, tells you that sort of thing. But yeah, like I say, it didn't have a lithium algorithm in there, so it won't really do too well charging the lithium. Plus we're adding that extra solar panel. So this is only a 30 amp unit and we're going up to a 50 amp unit, so bigger unit and all that sort of stuff. So this is where ours is located. So pretty much it's just a straight swap, unscrew that. You've got your solar panel in and then your regulated power back out to your batteries on the bottom here. So it's pretty much unscrew those, put the new one in, and that's it. But what I'm actually going to do is put a battery monitor in here. So I'm going to have to pull this whole panel off to run wires down in through the back of the or side of the Caravan down under to where the batteries are, because they're mounted underneath the van. So a bit more into it. You don't have to do this, but like I say, I just wanted to do it purely so I could keep an eye on what's going on with the batteries. Alright, so a bit of a change of plans. So I was looking at putting the battery monitor up here. After looking at all the wiring and everything that goes down the back and down the wall, the closest point I can access is down under here where the hot water system is, where it lives in there. And it's going to be really tight and really gross. I don't really want to do that. Not in a caravan park, not when we're living out of this full time. If I had it at home and we weren't living in it, then yeah, we could do this a hell of a lot differently. But so what we've opted for now, I'm just going to change this out now to a Bluetooth compatible one. So it's pretty much exactly the same, except that it's just got Bluetooth, so you can hook it to your phone and have a look at what's going on, whereas one before wasn't. So now I can just mount it in a not an easy to read spot. I'm just going to do it underneath the table, but I can always just look at my phone and see what the go is with the whole system. So it's a bit of a compromise, but everything else has got Bluetooth on it as well, so might as well make it all Bluetooth so I can see everything on the phone. Alright, so with our MPPT Victron Smart Solar Controller, there is actually a little indicator on the bottom there, where is it there? Little dial there, which tells you which charging algorithm you need to select. So if you look in the manual, pretty much there's got 7 different algorithms for different battery types and all that sort of stuff. So ours is number 7, which is the lithium. So we're just going to make sure we click that over to number 7 before we plug anything in. Alright, so new solar controller's in, all wired up. Just be careful when obviously you're doing your main battery and your solar panel cabling, because this was actually backwards compared to what the original one was. So just make sure you mark it or just take a picture of it, know where, which cable's what. So yeah, obviously you can see it's been a little bit spaghettied there now, but it still does the same job. It's all nice and neat, it's all tight, it's not going anywhere. So that's on. I've hooked onto the app on my phone and it's telling me now, obviously there's a bit of data there. So we're hooked up to mains power at the moment. So obviously the batteries won't really be needing much voltage, but you can see the amps and the volts coming in and what's going to the battery and what state it's in. So a pretty cool little app, tells you everything you need. So I'll be interested to see once we get off grid and see how much power is coming in and going to the battery. Alright, so that's where I've ended up mounting my battery monitor gauge down there. Now, yeah, it's underneath the table and everything like that. I've got my DC-DC charger gauge there as well. So, like at the end of the day, I've got the Bluetooth function, so I can just look at that. I don't need to actually physically see that gauge. It's just a hell of a lot easier running it through there. I've already got cables coming through the floor to the batteries, so I'm just gonna drill another hole, put the data cable down through to that for the monitor. So yeah, doesn't really matter where you put it when you've got the Bluetooth one. Obviously aesthetically it would have been nicer up there with all the other things, but at the end of the day it still does the same job. Alright, so we're down here under the bed in where the 240 volt charger lives. So this is it down here. So this is plugged into mains power, as you can see there, and then goes off and charges the batteries through here. So this is obviously when you're in caravan park or if you're at home and you plug it, your 15 amp plug into the side of the Caravan. That's what turns the power on inside, and that's what charges your batteries up. So if you've got 12 volt fridge and things like that, it'll keep running all the time and keep those batteries topped up. So that's what we're changing out today. Obviously because this one isn't lithium compatible, So the one we have is lithium compatible, so that's going to get changed out. Alright, so I've got the old charger out. Just taped up the positive connector there because that's still obviously going to the battery, so that's still going to be live, seeing we're still live at the moment. So another good idea is, obviously we don't just want to screw into this panel because there are wires all behind it. So this panel's just held in with a couple of screws. I'm just going to tip it forward, see what's behind there. Last thing you want to do is screw through electrical cable. Alright, so I've actually pulled most of the wiring harness that's in behind this out, and just sort of roughly secured that in, just so I know there's absolutely nothing behind this panel now where I'm going to screw my battery charger to. Alright, so we're all mounted up. Now we just need to wire it up. So pretty basic, red to red, black to black. We'll just find a nicer place to join these, and then our charger will be fully hooked up. So our 240 volt charger is now all wired in. You can see it's all plugged in there, powered on. Just run the cables in through this gland here, make it a lot neater. And yeah, we're on. Lights are flashing. Just got to remember, when you do these, you got to make sure you program them or calibrate them first before you actually like plug them in. So probably pay to just hook it up to 240 volt power, not on a battery or anything like that. Then you can go through your Bluetooth app, select what charge rate and things like that you can do, and then that way when you hook it up, you know that it's all good to go. It's not going to do any damage, but it's just a good idea to do it in case you forget about it, because they're usually set to AGM standard, so good idea to do that. Alright, so we're outside here now where the old batteries are. As you can see, I've pulled them out. I've got the old batteries down here. One of them's dead, but because we're in a caravan park and actually living out of it, we still need to have them hooked up, and you know, for the fridge and things like that. So at the moment I've been just cleaning out the boxes, putting a little bit of foam in there just because you can see where the other ones have rubbed, and they've rubbed on the battery. So I'll just sort of pack it out with a bit of foam, so when we clamp it down it's nice and tight. It's not going to move anywhere, it's not going to rub up against the steel. Now we've got locks and things for these, so you know, not going to go walkabout or anything like that, so that's always a good thing, especially when you put a bit of money into your lithium setup. So we're pretty much just sorting out a bit of the wiring, cleaning a bit of it up, and then we'll put these new batteries in. Alright, we're pretty much at the last step now. Everything inside's all wired up properly. We've got our solar controller hooked up, we've got our battery monitor hooked up and programmed, we've got our 240 volt charger hooked up and all ready to go. So we're still hooked onto the old crudders down here. Just got to swap it over now to the lithium and we'll be cranking with good stuff. Well, there you go, we're all installed now. We're on 100% lithium, and already I've tested it and it is so good. Our coffee machine hardly pulls anything through the inverter and all that sort of stuff. I think it used about 1%. So good, so happy with it. So we've got our solar controller in up here. We've got our 240 volt charger under the bed. We've got our monitor under here, which is all Bluetooth. And then obviously we've got the other solar panel on the roof, which just adds that extra bit of oomph when we're trying to recharge those batteries. We've got the two 150 lithiums underneath and the shunt. So we've wired that shunt in for the battery monitor. Lots of info on how to do that, and it'll come with instructions anyway. So overall, really happy with the install. Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't plan on doing this, so if you are planning a build, most stuff comes out nowadays with lithium compatible components anyway, so you won't have to go through all that sort of stuff. You just pretty much have to change your batteries over and then just change some settings. So yeah, this is more aimed at the older style AGM setups. So yeah, hope it was helpful. Yeah, if you've got any questions or anything like that, just sing out, comment down below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Alright, so the other thing people probably want to know is the price breakdown of everything that we did. Now we did go with Victron components, and they are probably more of your mid to high range price line. You've obviously got things that are a lot higher, and you've obviously got things that are a fair bit cheaper as well. So it all depends on what your budgets are and things like that. We just like the Victron stuff. We've used it before, so stick with a good thing in my eyes. So our pretty much the brackets for the solar panels were about $40 for the corner ones and about $50 for the long ones. We've got the battery monitor, which was originally wasn't the Bluetooth one, that was about $250, and then if you opt for the Bluetooth one, it's about $330 or something like that. So it's a little bit more expensive for the Bluetooth, but worth it if you can't put it in nice spots like I couldn't. So that was worth doing. The solar panel was just under $300 for the 160 watt fixed solar panel, and that's a monocrystalline one. So they're pretty much the good ones that you want to have. What else we got? So the solar controller was about $550. Once again, pretty expensive, but you know, it's a 50 amp, all Bluetooth compatible, so that's really good. Happy with that. And then the AC charger, Victron again, was about the $325 mark. And then the big hitting items obviously is the battery. So you can buy $500, $400 cheap ones, or you can buy $2,000 ones. It just depends on, once again, your budget, how much you're going to use them, the warranty that you can get with them, things like that. So our batteries came in at just under $1,000 each, so $970 I think each. You know, so fairly, you know, expensive, but I've, you know, fitted other lithium batteries that were double that price, so you know, it's fairly comparative. And once again, the main reason why I went with that is purely because availability, and I could get everything all at the same time at the same place. So I mean, in my eyes, that's, you know, you can't go wrong with that. And these guys, the Homer 12 volt, are awesome to deal with. They have online shop and things like that as well. They've got the warehouse shop that they go have all their stuff in at Mount Barker in South Australia, so we're right next to it. So in my eyes, good idea, let's use that. So yeah, jump online if you need to get anything from them. Really good pricing too. But anyway, so that's the breakdown of it. So all in all, it came to just around the $3,500 mark, plus about, say, $100 for sundries like the Sikaflex, some electrical terminals, some, you know, crimps and things like that. Just other miscellaneous stuff they had to use to get the rest of the system installed. So all up around the $3,500 mark to $4,000. Fairly expensive, but I mean, it's an investment in the long run. We're going to hopefully get another couple of years of, you know, good solid use out of these things. So quite happy with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.
It's like a family tree.